Welcome to the Here's Hope Project, where your story creates hope. I'm Sarah Jane, and in today's episode, we'll be talking with Bella Hollis, who was 12 years old when she was diagnosed with brain and spinal tumors. We'll be talking about her journey, about how she's been able to work through her emotions during treatment, how cancer has changed her, and we'll also talk about how her siblings were affected by her having cancer. We'll talk about more, but that's a quick rundown. All right. I adore this girl. She's amazing. So let's go meet her.
'Cause it's here where we lay in the blanket of despair, where I'm weak but I'm strong and black smoke fills the air, where I'm burned and broken.
Bella, welcome to my podcast.
Thanks for having me. It's good to see you.
Yeah, you too. So I was wondering the other day, how long I've known you. And I know that I made a music for you way back. And so I went to check, and it's been almost 4 years. It was right after you finished. Yeah. Wow, indeed. It was right after you finished treatment for the first time. And I was talking with your stepmom at the time, and I was speaking with her off and on for a few years. Until last year, I finally got the opportunity to speak with you directly. And it just, my heart, I love it because I speak with parents all the time, and I rarely get to speak with the child themselves. So this is so exciting for me. You just blow me away you have so many intelligent and wise things to say just about your journey. So I am super stoked for everyone to hear from you today and to hear what you have to say, because it is going to be amazing.
Yeah.
We do have a lot to talk about today. I'd like try to fit in a lot. Let's just dig right in. What do you say?
Let's do it.
You come from a big family. You have
I do.
6 brothers and sisters. And your cancer journey really began when you were 12 years old. You were a quarter into 7th grade, and you really liked gymnastics and crafts and hanging out with your friends. You had a pretty normal life. And then you started having double vision and problems with your vision. You'd stand up sometimes and black out for maybe like 10 seconds at a time. And then you started getting headaches. Then you had this really painful upper right arm pain that brought you to the doctor. And that's when they discovered that you had a tumor on your spine that was causing that. And so you heard those words. You heard, you have cancer. At 12 years old, what did those words mean to you? And were you able to fully comprehend what was going on?
I was not really able to comprehend it because since I was 12, I wasn't really taught a whole lot about how cancer works. I just knew, sometimes people get cancer and then they had to do treatment, but I always thought you have to be sick and then get cancer. But no, I was perfectly healthy, and it just came into my life. And so whenever I was first told you have cancer, I didn't understand what was happening and what was gonna happen in the future. And so I just was very lost. So.
I imagine it's got to be pretty overwhelming. I mean, here you are living this normal life, and suddenly everything is thrown out the window, and your life now kind of revolves around treatment. How did your parents explain to you what was going on?
They kind of just told me they found this tumor in your spine, and that means that you're going to have to take this medicine, and you have to come to the hospital, and you'll lose your hair, and just kind of the things that I was going to have to experience and have to endure during this process of a little under a year. So
so let's talk more about that. Can you maybe talk to us about, or explain to us what kind of cancer you were diagnosed with and what your treatment and journey looked like?
Of course, yeah. The type of cancer that I was diagnosed with was a pretty rare one. So they kind of just treated it as a, I think it was an embryonic tumor. I think is what they said. But it was just so there was little tumors in my head or in my brain, and then little tumors all down my spinal cord, and then that one main tumor. And so the schedule for my treatment was I had a biopsy right after they had found out, and then I had done, I think it was 6 weeks of radiation, and I did proton radiation. And so 6 weeks, every like 5 days a week, Monday to Friday, I would go in, and I did that in Knoxville, Tennessee. And then also during that time, every week I would go in and get some chemo done. And it was 10 minutes long. I would go in, get access, do that, and then leave. And that would just be once a week. And then after I had finished those 6 weeks, I got to ring the bell, and then I transferred to, I went back home to Nashville because I didn't live in Knoxville. So went back home, and then got a little bit of a break, about a month's break. And then in January, I got to start my 6 months worth of chemo at the Children's Hospital, Vanderbilt Children's. And I just say the nurses are amazing there. And they treated me very nicely. And it was a once a month thing. I would go in, same thing where I would just go in and leave. But then it was also, I had inpatient. So I would have to stay the night for about, I think it was 3 to 4 nights every month. And so that it took a toll on me pretty much. And I lost all of my hair. And so, but.
Was that hard, losing your hair?
Yeah, it was. But I also at the same time wasn't very I guess attached to my hair, so it wasn't like the end of the world.
I mean, that's a lot to kind of take in.
Mm-hmm.
Did you struggle at all with, because I know you live in Nashville, right? And you had to go from Nashville to Knoxville for radiation treatment. And you would sometimes be away from family for, I don't know, sometimes a few weeks at a time. Was that hard, being away from them?
It was pretty hard. The plan that my parents had was they would switch off each weekend. So it would be like I would be with my dad, and then I would be with my mom. But I did miss my siblings a whole lot because I didn't get to see them. But they would come up every once in a while, and I had an iPad so I could FaceTime them. And I did that a lot. So
That's
I'm happy
good.
that there was a workaround.
Yeah, there often is a workaround, isn't there?
Yes. Yeah.
So throughout all of this, did you struggle at all with, I'm sure there had to be a lot of anxiety with scans and things like that. Did you struggle with depression or anxiety or anything like that throughout your journey?
I didn't really, because I was so young. I mean, even having to go through everything, I still was kind of just oblivious of how close I was to possibly passing. And I just was very oblivious of the danger of it, and just kind of was just trying to be as positive as I could be. And my parents definitely had more of that anxiety and scanxiety and all of that. But I mean, every once in a while I would be like, oh, this is very harsh and very intense.
One of the things you were telling me was that you felt more happy than depressed.
Yeah.
And that made you a sillier person. Why do you think it
did.
made you a sillier person?
I'm not really sure. Just me trying to I saw how upset everyone else was, and so I just kind of tried to make everyone else like happier and like just see like those silver linings that I was talking about, and just like, just try to make everyone laugh and smile, because it's a very dark and gloomy thing to have to go through. And I just was like, I don't want to have to go through like having to go through cancer and all the treatments and everything, but I don't want to have to live all gloomy and like sad all the time. I just wanted to be like moving on with my life, even though I still had to go through these treatments. And so I did like make jokes and like be like, oh, I have a hairbrush, I'm brushing my hair even though I was bald. And like I tried to have as much fun with it as I could. And it's definitely not a fun thing, but I just tried to be as positive as I could.
You did well. Let me tell you, you did good. You have a great positive attitude, just from what I know and what I talk and speak with you about. One of the things that I love about you is that you are really emotionally intelligent and intuitive. Mm-hmm. And you had said something to me, and we were talking last year at some point. I went through our messages just to prepare. Yeah. And you had said, let me pull this, me focusing on my emotions and working through them, and at the same time not letting the cancer control my life, is what really helped me to get through all of it all. Yeah. I love that. That's brilliant. I mean, adults don't even get that. I want to kind of focus on that first line, me focusing on feeling my emotions and working through them. I want to dig into that a little deeper, because we're all told not to run away or to avoid our problems, right? But sometimes emotions can be, I know in my experience, emotions can be so consuming. It can consume your whole body that you can't really think straight completely. Yeah. So my question is, because I would hear this and I'd say, yeah, just focus on your feeling, accept it, and work through it. But how do you work through something when the emotion consumes you?
For me, I just like kind of just thought about my emotions and what exactly I was feeling and why I was feeling that way. And, for cancer, it was, I was having to go through these treatments, and these treatments are making me feel sick, and that would be like my anger or like my sadness. But then how I would work through that is either try to find something that I can connect with that emotion. Like if I was wanting to color, like I would like color or draw something. Like if I was angry, like something that makes me angry, or just like a angry emoji face or something like that. And then, or like I would listen to a song that is equivalent to whatever emotion I was feeling, and just try to like let all that emotion out. Like especially like songs mainly help me for sad songs. And so like usually for sad songs, like you'll listen to it and you'll cry, and that helps a lot. Crying especially, like that helps get your sadness out. And it's very important not to hold in that emotion, because it will build up, and the end result of that is not going to help at all in this situation. So it's just very, very important to find a way to get those emotions out, like talk to someone or draw or listen to music. And there's so many different ways that you can let your emotions out on the internet if you just look up different ways to do that. And there's just so many of them. So
girl, I want to high five you right now. High five you through the screen. That was amazing. Yeah. I love it. Beautiful answer. And you just want to kind of speak kind words into yourself too when you're having those emotions. Just saying like, okay, I'm feeling really a lot of anxious. I'm terrified right now because I'm getting scans and this is what it feels like, but it's completely normal. Other people feel like this. I'm not alone. Not everything is or nothing is permanent. So we'll get through this. You kind of just being your own personal cheerleader. And you strike me as someone that definitely does that. And I love that you mentioned activities like drawing and music, especially.
Yes.
And writing. I mean, because by taking action, that helps you redirect those negative emotions into something more positive. And it really does. That's how you work through it. So you just answered my question perfectly. When you're focusing on your just that's how you work through it. That's great. So with those activities that you were saying, like writing, drawing, music, I mean, those two are, even if you're not struggling emotionally at the time, those are just great activities to kind of help keep your mind off of treatment.
Yes.
Yeah. So are there any other activities or things that you did, or maybe the hospital supplied, that helped you keep your mind off treatment?
I did a lot of crafts whenever I was in the hospital, and Vanderbilt especially has like a lot of like toys and crafts and stuff that they can give you. I also did these beads that the hospital supplied me with, but it was like for each thing that I would go through, like a poke or a scan or an infusion, I would get a bead that correlated to that each like thing that I was having to go through. I painted a whole lot. Just a lot of crafty things is what I usually did, but it really helped a lot to take my mind off of it.
That's great. I'm assuming that everything like that there, we were talking earlier too, you mentioned like Seacrest Studios, which is great.
Yes. Yeah.
And because I think they have like a media center in the hospital that allows patients to kind of explore TV and radio.
Yeah.
Things like that. Is this something that siblings can partake in too, or is it just for the child going through cancer?
Yes.
It is for siblings too.
Yeah. At the time, I'm not sure what the precautions are now, but at the time, like my siblings were able to come into my hospital room and hang out. And whenever they would host those activities at Seacrest Studios, we would all be able to participate in it. Like we did bingo once, and that was a lot of fun. And you could like whenever you get a bingo, you would get to turn in your card and then go downstairs, or they would bring it up to you, but they would bring you like a prize. And my siblings got to do that too, and that brought a lot of joy to them as well, and distracted them, especially from seeing their sibling having to go through chemo treatments. But it definitely helps a lot for the siblings and for the patient that to distract them and just have a little fun and just bring happiness.
Yeah, because we don't really talk much about the siblings, do you? But they really go through it. They really do.
They do, yeah.
How did because you have 6, right?
I am one of 6, so I have 5, yes.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. No,
so how did they react to you having cancer?
How
did it affect them?
It was kind of the same. At the time, I only had 3 siblings because 2 of them weren't born yet. But they kind of were just really confused as well because they were so young. My oldest sibling, he was, I was 12 at the time, so he was 14. So he was still pretty young, and he still, like all of us, we just weren't sure what was happening. And it definitely took a toll on them because they saw all this attention that was like being put on me and all these gifts that I was receiving, and they felt jealous. But also at the same time, they were like, this isn't a good thing. She's having to go through all of this chemo and radiation and everything. Like I don't want to do that. but I want that attention, and I want that those gifts and just all of everything that those good things that she's getting. And it just was very confusing for them. And it definitely helps whenever the parent is not focusing 100% on the patient, because I know you definitely like want to do that. Like that's your instinct, is to be like, oh, make sure they're comfortable and make sure they're happy. But also, like, you have these other siblings that are also upset and jealous and like going through it as well. It's not just the patient, and it would definitely help to like take them out to dinner, or like take them to the movies, or buy them some gifts or whatever. Sign them up for foundations that are out there, because there are so many that you can use, and so many of them are free and accessible. But just siblings definitely don't get enough credit for what they go through as well during a time of, a kid going through chemo.
Yeah. Yeah. You were just talking about some of the foundations for the parents listening.
Yes.
What are some of those foundations that they can maybe get their kids and
yes.
into?
Some of them are, one of the ones that I really enjoyed, or is enjoying because I still get to participate, is a camp called Camp Horizon, and it's a summer camp, 1 week overnight camp, and it's so much fun, and it's for siblings and for patients. But some other ones, melodic caring, they are amazing. I actually do some music therapy with them, but yeah, they're pretty cool. They do some writing some music for the kid, and just, music definitely helps a lot.
I mean, those are some good organizations. I'll put in the description for anyone listening and watching. I'll put in the description a link and about those organizations so you can access them.
Okay.
But so let's see. I guess another question I have for you is, what was the hardest part of treatment for you?
The hardest part, I think there was two main really difficult parts that I went through. One of them was just the effect that the treatment took on me, and the nausea and the low energy, and just all of those side effects that I got from the treatment. Those were definitely very difficult to work through. And then another one was just seeing my parents so sad and upset, and that's one of the main reasons why I was always like trying to cheer everyone up and do that, because I just didn't like seeing my parents so upset and so sad, and they definitely tried to hide that from me. And of course, like, that's, I mean, I would expect that to be your first instinct, to try and like hide that, to try and make your kid more happy.
How did you feel about that? Do you wish that they were just more open and honest, or?
I think that you should definitely be honest about yourself, but about your emotions. But I don't think that it should be too much, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, definitely be honest and be like, oh, I'm feeling upset, or whatever. But definitely, like I mentioned, work through those emotions, and don't hold those in.
Yeah, don't hold them in. They always come right back at you.
Yeah, yeah.
So how do you think that cancer has changed you?
It has definitely changed me for my maturity. I've been told that so many times.
I'm one of them.
Yes. And I think it's because getting so close to like death is very like, it makes you open your eyes and makes you very aware of what's going on around you. And with like having to see everyone else what they were going through during everything, it made me very aware of how everyone was feeling and how like what we were doing and what they were doing and all this stuff. And it definitely just made me just more aware than people my age. And so like whenever I went back to school after I had finished treatment, everyone was kind of just like oblivious to things around them, and also just kind of like, I don't want to say like immature, but like it was 8th grade whenever I went back to school. So it was like they're kids. And so I kind of just felt like I don't belong with them, but at the same time, it's like they're my age. So it's.
But you felt a lot sort of older because you had to
Yeah.
go. So one of the things that you had said, because we're talking right now kind of about the first time you were diagnosed with cancer in 2018.
Yeah.
You hit remission in 2019. Then you were cancer-free for about 2.5 years. And
Yeah.
last year in April, you were diagnosed again.
Mm-hmm.
And you just finished treatment again for the second time a few weeks ago. So congratulations.
Thank you.
So one of the things that you had said when you were making that post that this is your last chemo treatment, you had said,
Mhm.
It's crazy how much good can come of something so terrible.
Yeah.
What good came out of it?
My like being more mature, and also like all of those experiences that I got with my family. And definitely like, there were bad ones, but there were so many good ones, and so many like times that I get to reflect back or like bring up like, oh, hey mom, you remember whenever we blah 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 did that? And like it brings us joy to like look back on those times, and just all of those memories that we have that were happy, and just those were so those are so amazing. And
Or even
so
the hard memories. I mean, just looking back at what you went through and then seeing where you are today. I mean, just feeling immense amount of gratitude.
Yeah, definitely.
And you probably made a lot of friends with the doctors and the hospitals, made new friends.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Well, you got a whole new family
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
out of it. Yeah.
You meet so many people through like the grapevine of having cancer, and like you, for example. And just, it's amazing just how much good comes out of
like you said, out of something so terrible. So how can families, or how can we get in touch with you if they'd want to follow your journey and help support you? How can they find you?
Yes, on Facebook, if you go to Bella Brave, that's how you can like reach out to me through that, because that's my cancer page.
Well, I appreciate you coming on. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me.